Now I'm going to get started. So LeBow students are particularly lucky because you guys have a lot of flexibility and a ton of options. We send more business majors abroad on our full-time programs than we do any other major. Oftentimes we send business majors to all parts of the world. Almost all of our programs are great fits for business majors. Some more than others, but business majors have gone on almost all of our programs that are not closed specifically for other majors, like an engineering program specifically. So you guys have a ton of options, and I'm going to explain to you how study abroad works at Drexel and what our options are. And again, feel free to ask questions throughout. So first I'm going to get into why study abroad in the first place. Hopefully because you're here, you are interested in studying abroad. Like that is why you are here, here in this Zoom room. But just so you know, the number one regret of college students is not studying abroad. Only 10% or even lower actually do study abroad of college students. So not only does it make you unique, but this is the time when you are a student. There is no other time to pick up and only have the responsibilities of being in class. So this is the time to go. And I can tell you, as someone who's graduated college and most of my friends did not study abroad, they all regret it. Even if it seemed hard to fit in or expensive at the time, all of them who didn't figure out a way to go regret doing so. So this is the time for sure. Number two, you came to college to expand your worldview. Study abroad will give you all the things listed for sure. I can't tell you how much I learned about myself when I studied abroad. It was the first time I had ever left the country before. I learned how truly American I really am. I didn't realize I was so American. I learned the context of my own cultural behavior and what made me different from other people as growing up in the US, and what was all the same, what made us all one world. Particularly right now in the middle of COVID, when we're all in the same situation, that is a great reason to try to understand other cultures for sure. And like I said, less than 10% of US graduates study abroad. Employers, co-op employers, certainly are looking for students who stand out from the crowd, who are independent thinkers, and study abroad really gives you that ability to be resourceful, to think independently, to problem solve. You know, you're put out of your comfort zone, and that demands you to learn some new skills. So employers love to see that, and those are all some great reasons to study abroad. I will say study abroad in particular at Drexel is academic classes abroad. If you're interested in co-op abroad, that runs through Steinbray. So those are two different things. You can do both. You are welcome to study abroad or co-op abroad as many times as you can academically and financially make it work. We have no limits for that. But international co-op runs through Steinbray, and we run all of the academic class programs. All right, so get the facts, some myths about study abroad. Number one, study abroad is only for certain majors. One, that is definitely not the case. Study abroad is not only for certain majors. Study abroad is for everyone. We have all majors who study abroad. We offer programs that are a week long to a year long that include study plus co-op. So between all those options, there's something for everyone. In addition to that, LeBow majors should never say, oh, I can't go abroad because of my major, because LeBow is the #1 sender for study abroad, and you guys have a ton of flexibility to make that work, and your academic advisors are quite used to sending their students abroad. So take advantage of being part of a college that is so supportive of study abroad. Number two, if I go overseas, I will get behind and graduate late. There is no reason for this. As long as you plan ahead, there is no reason to get behind and graduate late. So all you have to do is work with us and work with your academic advisor to make sure that you're taking the right courses that you need at the right time, and you won't graduate late. We let students go abroad into their senior year if necessary. And the longer you wait, the less flexibility that you will have, but there's no reason to graduate late if you plan early. I need to know a foreign language in order to study abroad. Also not true. Most of our programs don't have language requirements or only have introductory language requirements like Spanish 101, French 101. And if you took it in high school, you could probably test out of it. You do not have to retake it in college. So you'll find that most of our programs should work for you. Either you don't have to be fluent in that language, or you can just take the introductory level for the language at Drexel, or you can test out of it. If you see on our website that the program has a 310 language requirement, Spanish 310, German 310, something like that. That means that the classes are taught in that language. So you do have to be fluent to go on those programs or close to it, or else you'll just be lost. And that's not a great setup for success, is to go on a program where you don't speak the language. But most of our programs are taught in English at English-speaking universities, English-speaking programs, and you'll have no problem taking classes there. They're built for either an American audience or an international audience where most people speak English. Myth 4, studying abroad costs too much money and I can't afford to spend any more money. So yes, there are some study abroad programs that are expensive. That is true. But there are also many programs that are actually more affordable than living in Philadelphia. It depends on where you go, how long you're there, and how much you do on your spare time that will cost you money, right? So if you are going to London, one of the most expensive places in the world, and you are traveling every single weekend, that will rack up the bill. If you go to somewhere like Singapore, which is far more affordable, and you're traveling within Asia, which is a much more affordable place to travel, that might be less expensive than living in Philadelphia. Or if you stay mostly in Singapore, that will certainly save you some money. A big reason why students spend a lot of money on study abroad is what they do on their spare time. Right now, well, not right now, but on a typical time before COVID, when you're on campus in Philadelphia, you're not going to Miami and San Diego and Las Vegas every weekend. You're staying put in Philadelphia. And when you travel every weekend, that certainly racks up the bill. So really, a lot of study abroad relies on you and your decisions, but I will tell you that our programs are the same Drexel tuition, and I'll get into that a little bit later. There are a ton of scholarships out there. I will also get into that. And there are certainly opportunities to fund your study abroad program. In addition, there are less expensive places that you can select so that you don't break the bank, if that is important to you. All right, again, feel free to ask questions or chat throughout. I think I can see the chat when I'm sharing my screen, but I'll X out at some point just to see if anyone has any questions. And Ashley, if there are any questions that I'm missing, let me know. All right.
Sounds good, will do.
Thank you. Okay, this picture of Lucy the Elephant, if you're unfamiliar, Lucy the Elephant is an elephant-shaped building in Margate, New Jersey, in the Jersey Shore. The reason I bring up Lucy is because I want to address the elephant in the room of COVID-19. Yes, of course we are impacted by COVID-19. COVID-19 will not be here forever, and we will return to sending students abroad. Here is what has happened so far with our office and coronavirus. Of course, the safety of our students is the utmost importance. So we canceled all of spring and summer 2020 programs. Most of the students had not left yet for spring term, and the ones who were already abroad, we brought home, and then we canceled summer. And a lot of those students are being offered the option to defer or transfer to different programs. Fall 2020 programs are still running as of right now, but the answer is TBD. Some of our partners have canceled, but Drexel has not canceled. So it's kind of up to Big Drexel to determine that, and that's probably coming in the next couple weeks. And if those programs, all of our fall programs get canceled, those students will also be offered options of deferring and transferring. It is the utmost importance to us to make sure that everyone is given their opportunity to go abroad, and we don't want to pull your spot because your program got canceled. So we are trying hard to finagle and figure out space for everyone who got in and was able to go and qualified to be able to go. So if you're planning to study abroad in the future and you're worried about like, well, what if I sign up and if my program gets canceled? We are offering a ton of flexibility to work with you for that. So winter 2021 and beyond is still scheduled. The winter 2021 deadline is in August. Spring 2021 deadline, man, that's a mouthful, 2021. Spring 2021 deadline is in September. And we will be certainly providing a ton of flexibility when it comes to withdrawals, refunds, any of those pieces for COVID-19. We do have a whole refund policy that we have our students sign when they are applying, but we're making exceptions here and there for COVID because there's just no getting around this, and we want to make sure that our students are safe. And still have the opportunity to go abroad once it becomes available again. I'm so happy to see that all of you are still thinking of study abroad despite the fact that the world is shut down right now. We know that it will reopen, and that when it does, you know, you'll have the opportunity to go. And what that looks like, we have no idea, but we'll be here to work with you. And of course, the safety of our students is our number one priority. We have a senior director of health, safety, and security who's closely monitoring the situation and making calls of when we can and cannot send our students abroad. We are also monitoring what all the other universities are doing. Drexel is not going to be the last school to send their students abroad, and we're probably also not going to be the first one to do it. But we are going to be what the rest of the world does. So we're going to follow suit, and we'll see what happens when it happens. But we're here to support you and to work with you to figure out plan A, B, C, and D, and that's all we've been doing since COVID struck. All right, so what kind of program types are there? And perhaps, so this might be a little bit repetitive if you've already gone to a Study Abroad 101 session. If you haven't, they go over pieces of this. So you can probably skip a Study Abroad 101 session since this is Study Abroad 101 plus LeBow. So I'm just going to go into the types of programs that we offer in terms of Drexel Study Abroad. So we offer what we call freestanding programs. And these are programs that are built for an American audience. They are typically a group of Drexel students or students from American universities who study abroad together, sometimes as part of a cohort. You'll be taking classes with American students. You'll be living with American students. You will earn Drexel credits and Drexel grades. Typically, all the classes are already approved for you with Drexel course codes. You will choose from a list of classes that will be as small as 2 or 3 classes to as big as 25 classes. So the class list is somewhat limited. They do usually include business classes or a business class or electives that business students have taken. You will also pay a program fee that covers the cost of your housing. So you'll pay your normal Drexel tuition, and then you would pay a program fee to cover the cost of your housing, among some other things. Oftentimes that includes public transit or some activities during your orientation or meals, depending on the circumstance, maybe breakfast, whatever. So that's what's usually included as a freestanding program. It's more of an Americanized program. And if you want to go with a group of Drexel students, this would be the program for you. Most of our summer programs are freestanding programs. The next type of program that we offer is an exchange program. So that's where you become a student at another university. So this is a much more immersive kind of program. This is where you are enrolling in another university, you are taking classes with the local students and other international students, you are living with the local students and other international students. And you can choose to befriend the Drexel students who go on this program with you. You can choose to completely ignore them. You can choose something in the middle. But it's not cohorted so that you are all together all the time. It's up to you to befriend the other Drexel students who go. It's also possible some of these are so small that you may be the only Drexel student who goes. Your advisor will let you know that. Most of our exchange programs, especially if you go in the fall, will have a group of students going, and we'll send you each other's email addresses so you can connect beforehand. But this is a little bit more of an independent study abroad program because it's not cohorted and you're not all going and taking the same classes together. You have the whole university's course catalog to choose from. So if you need to take 5 business classes in a couple different business subjects, you can do that at one of our partner universities that has a great business school. Your classes will be pass or fail. I know you guys are very familiar with that from this past spring, this current spring, because classes are offered as pass fail right now. That means that you need the equivalent of a Drexel C or above. So grades are different all around the world. We will convert that back to American grades. You need the equivalent of a C or above, and your GPA will not be impacted. It is not an option the way it was this spring to take classes pass fail. This is how it's structured on this program. Classes are pass fail. Most students really appreciate that on an exchange program because A, we don't expect you to go to another country and pick up their style of teaching in a couple months. Some of the schools are really difficult. I mean, we partner with some of the best universities in the world, really. Some of the top 10, top 20 schools top 50 schools in the world are our partners and you can go as an exchange student, you'll appreciate that we're giving you pass-fail, for sure. Exchange programs don't have any program fee. So you'll pay housing directly to the university. You will pay your Drexel tuition, and then it's kind of an a la carte menu from there. Drexel's not going to bill you for anything but tuition. You will pay for your housing to the university. You'll pay or to a landlord outside of the university. You'll pay for your flight, your food, all of those pieces. So that's kind of the exchange program in a nutshell. The majority of our exchange programs are offered in the fall. Both of these, freestanding and exchange, are offered at other times, but most freestanding programs are in the summer and most exchange programs are in the fall. And if you're wondering, what about winter and spring? I'll get into that in a second. The next type of program that we offer are ICAs. Oh, that got cut off there, but it's supposed to say short-term programs during the breaks. So ICAs are offered 4 times a year: fall break, winter break, spring break, summer break. They are 1 to 3 credit courses that are taught by a Drexel professor, where you go with a group of Drexel students for a week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks, to a country, and you learn a very intense, shortened class in that period of time. There are a bunch of these that have been offered through LeBow. LeBow is probably our #1 partner in ICAs. There are several LeBow faculty that do it every year. Perhaps some of you have gone on them or have heard of them. The ICA locations do change all the time. There are some professors who will offer the same class, but they will change location every year. So it'll be like fall break in Amsterdam one year and fall break in Jamaica the next year and fall break in Prague the next year. They are really popular. They do not impact the Drexel calendar at all because they happen during the break periods. And they're a great way to get some credits out of the way before the term starts. So if you do a fall break that happens in September, those, let's say, 3 credits will be applied to the upcoming fall term. So there's no additional tuition, but there is a program fee that covers the cost of the program, of, all of the activities that you do, the tours that you take, the hotels that you stay in, etc. They are offered in many subjects, and many of them are open to all majors. So you can take them through LeBow, but also there are ones in criminology and sociology and fashion design. There are some really cool ones. So take a look at those. We have students who've done 3 or 4 of them. So a ton of options there. And you can do an ICA really up until almost till you graduate. You can do it up until winter of your senior year, spring break, March of your senior year. So that's a great option if you're like, oh shoot, I missed out on going for a full term, or I don't have enough flexibility. ICAs are kind of the answer and the catch-all to all of those. So those are our 3 program types that we offer for Drexel credit through Drexel Study Abroad. Freestanding and exchange are full term, and ICAs are during the breaks. Now, by full term, I mean that these programs will count as 1 term or more if you go for longer at Drexel. Many of them are semester schools though. So if you go for a fall semester, that's still just going to replace fall quarter at Drexel. You don't get a quarter and a half. You may be able to argue for a bit more credits, but for the most part, fall semester programs at one of our partners are going to count as fall quarter programs here. So when should you go abroad? Most students go between sophomore, pre-junior, and junior year. Those are the most common times. The only options for freshmen, which at this point, if you're a freshman, you're finishing up your freshman year in a couple of weeks, so no one's looking to go freshman year, but we do offer a couple ICAs to freshmen. We do allow seniors to go. They're just limited, that's all. So we typically say sophomore, pre-junior, or junior, but if you're heading into your senior year, that's okay. We still allow seniors to go abroad. Like I said, fall terms work the best for exchanges, and summer term have the most freestanding options. Fall and summer term have the most options in general, and that is because of the Drexel calendar. We spend a lot of time fitting a square peg into a round hole, and in winter and spring, there are very few programs that are a perfect Drexel quarter. Most winter and spring programs will require you to start a co-op late or leave a co-op early. And there's not a ton of getting around that, unfortunately. That's just the deal when a program is January to May or February to June. We have to kind of finagle around that. So because of that, if you are fall winter co-op, most of those students go abroad in the summer. If you are spring summer co-op, most of those students go abroad in the fall. You do have the option to change your co-op cycle for study abroad. little known fact. I know that you guys hear over and over and over again, you cannot change your co-op cycle. You can for study abroad. You are allowed to. If the program that you want to go on is not offered during your cycle. So you have to prove your point to co-op and say, you know, I want to go on this program. It's only offered in the fall, or, you know, it's offered in the fall or the spring, but the spring will cut 7 weeks off my co-op. The study abroad is usually pretty amenable to that. So you can change your co-op cycle to go abroad. Just take some planning, and the earlier you plan for that, the better. And it's easier to switch from fall, winter to spring, summer than it is to go the opposite way around. So if you fall, winter co-op and you want a fall program, it's quite easy to switch to spring, summer co-op. If you're doing the reverse, if you have spring, summer co-op and now you want fall, winter, that requires more planning and you should start earlier. And that's just kind of because of the calendar structure. So fall and summer have the best and the most program options. You can go in winter and spring. You are, of course, allowed to. There's just less options. And of course, speak to your academic advisor about when study abroad works best for you. If you're sitting there as a freshman and you're like, I have sophomore, pre-junior, junior, and even maybe senior year, when can I go? Talk to your academic advisor about when the best time to go is. And if you start early, if you go abroad in like your sophomore year, you can go abroad multiple times. We've had students who've studied abroad 4, even 5 times with ICAs and have done international co-op. It has happened. So as many times as you can academically and financially make it work, great. I'm sorry if you hear a dog barking in the distance. My neighbor's dog just sometimes goes crazy. All right, so that is the deal about when to study abroad. The cost of studying abroad. So for all Drexel sponsored programs, what is that? That's any program on our website. Any program on our website, you will pay your normal Drexel tuition. If you are receiving any Drexel scholarships, grants, loans, aid, anything like that, that will all still apply in the very same way. If you're receiving the Liberty Scholarship, the Legacy Scholarship, the AJ Drexel Scholarship, whatever, that all will still apply. The difference will be the cost of going there. So that will either come in the way of a program fee, as you would pay for a freestanding program or an ICA, or it would come, or you would just pay it directly to the school for their on-campus housing. If you can't get on-campus housing, some schools provide it, some schools don't, then you'd pay to the off-campus housing, and you just kind of pay for what you need. So it should be fairly similar to Drexel if you choose a location that is fairly similar in cost to living to Drexel and you live within your means. We do have a work study position available through our office. If you have work study funds and you are like, well, I don't want to lose my work study job or my work study funds for studying abroad, you can blog for our office and we will pay you work study funds. You blog twice a week, we pay you for that. So that's pretty great. We offer several scholarships through our office, 3 main ones that are open to everyone applying for a full-term program, so freestanding or exchange. We offer a project-based scholarship, a diversity scholarship, and a financial needs scholarship. And you can apply to any or all of those. Additionally, we offer several ICA scholarships. We offer a financial need and a diversity scholarship for ICAs. So you have options for all of those. Then there are several federal scholarships as well. There is a scholarship specifically for Pell Grant recipients called the Gilman Scholarship. There are language scholarships. There are scholarships specifically to go to Asia. There are certainly opportunities out there for funding. Anywhere from $500 to, I'll get into it in a minute, but scholarships as large as $25,000. They exist. So here are some examples of some past ICAs and their the courses that were offered. So the location and then the course title. So the first one that you see, I'm not going to go over each of them, but just wanted to point out a couple. The first one that you see is the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. That's an actual fringe festival, the largest in the world, that happens in Edinburgh every summer. We have an ICA that goes to it. The Japan ICI one, that's visual studies. So it's visual studies in Japan. That's a really popular one. The Commerce, Culture, Cuisine, and Citizenship in Jamaica, that was run through LeBow. So you'll see a lot of great options on here. This is what was offered in the past. They do change, but a lot of the subjects kind of remain the same. So the location may differ, but the subjects kind of remain the same. Most of our fall break programs are not happening at this point. They do require a lot of planning and work from the faculty, and I think that the faculty saw the writing on the wall for the fall and decided to not run a cohorted program. But we are currently planning ones for winter and for spring, and feeling pretty optimistic, especially about spring. So you can do this, and you can do a full-term program. You can do all of it. And we update our website with the new ones that come out. Okay, so where can you go? So here are the countries where we have full-term programs. So I'll give you a second to look at that. And if you're looking at this and you're like, oh, I don't see the country I want to go to. I want to go to Switzerland, and I don't see that on here. That's called independent study abroad. You can still do that. It's just going through a non-Drexel program, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But these are the full-term locations that we offer. Now, one specifically for LeBow, probably what you've been waiting on a little bit. These are programs that are only for business majors or where business students get priority. So there are a fair amount of them all over the world offered at different times. The one at Trinity College Dublin in Ireland is brand new. That one, as long as we can send for the fall, we'll send our first student for fall 2020. If not, we'll send our first students for fall 2020 or for winter 2021. But these are all only for business students. So they're closed to anyone else. China, Prague, Paris, Berlin, Mannheim, Germany, kind of a smaller city in Germany, Dublin, Hong Kong, Amsterdam. The Singapore Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program is a really cool one in the summer at our highest ranked partner, Nanyang Technological University, NTU. That school is 11 or 12 in the world. That's one of our highest ranked partners. And Navarra, a really highly ranked business school in Pamplona, Spain. And if you're like, what's Pamplona, Spain? That's where the running of the bulls happens. So that's in northern Spain. So these are programs, again, that are only for business students. Feel free to take a picture with your phones if you haven't done so already. And then these are just programs that are great for business. They're not closed to anyone else. They're just great for business and open to everyone. And they do not have any language requirements. So you can see still a ton of options. The dual city programs that you see down below, those are summer programs, half in one city and half in London. We offer 5 of those, but 2 have business tracks in particular. Dublin, London offers a marketing track, and Paris, London offers a marketing track. Back here, you will have seen the dual city program for Berlin, London. That's also a summer option in dual city. And that is more than marketing. There's entrepreneurship and innovation and a couple other management. I think even human resources is the Berlin, London option. So plenty of options for you all around the world at some really, really highly ranked partners. So you would be there for an entire semester. At all of the ones that you see that says University of, for the most part, those are going to be full semesters, and those are likely going to be best for the fall. Okay, business programs with language requirements. So again, these are open to everyone, but they're great for business students, and these do have language requirements. If you see that the classes set, the program says Spanish 101 to Spanish 310, that is because the English classes offered at that university, you only need to have taken Spanish 101. But if you want to take classes in Spanish, then you have to have taken up to Spanish 310. The UAS 7 program in Germany, if you've taken a lot of German, or if you plan to, that's a study plus co-op program at 7 different universities in Germany to choose from. That's why it's called UAS 7, because there's 7 schools to choose from in Germany. South Korea has become incredibly popular over the last couple of years. So these are programs that are certainly offered to business students, but for some of these programs, and I'm just going to use Korea as an example, they are competitive. So we will let you know when you're applying that you picked a program that's competitive and that you should have a second choice. And we have enough spaces for everyone who wants to go abroad and qualifies to get to go abroad. But some of them are going to be more competitive than others. So we'll let you know when you're in an advising appointment if you picked a program that's competitive. Oftentimes the online brochure where these programs are detailed will also list if the program is competitive. So you should know. And if you meet the language requirement before you apply, that often helps your chances for some of the more competitive ones. Again, if you see that it says 310, then that means the classes are taught in that language. All right. So like I said, if you don't see what you want, we do have programs all over the world that we have worked with that aren't Drexel partners. So that's called independent study abroad, and that just means that they're not Drexel sponsored. And we can help you find those programs. If you're unsure and you're like, I just didn't find what I wanted, or I want to go to, again, Switzerland, we'll help you find programs in those countries. I work with those students as well, the independent study abroad students. Probably our most popular independent study abroad program is Semester at Sea. And the details of doing independent study abroad are that you will apply directly to that program, and then you'll fill out a supplemental Drexel application that kind of just keeps us posted. You will pay that program directly for whatever their costs are. You will not be paying Drexel for that term. So it could be more expensive, it could be less expensive. It totally depends on the cost of that program and your Drexel aid and what you're receiving here. But if you are receiving any Drexel specific aid, the AJ Drexel Scholarship, the Liberty Scholarship, anything that's tied specifically to Drexel, that will not apply for independent study abroad. However, if you are receiving federal aid, that could apply. Because if you chose a program that has a US base, like it's run through Syracuse University, then your federal aid would apply because it's a US school. And lastly, you will receive transfer credit for these programs, not Drexel credit. Now, you may have heard that LeBow does not accept transfer credit. That's a big no. And that is generally true. They do make exceptions for study abroad. So they will take it on a case-by-case basis, but usually they do accept it for study abroad. So if you like this option, I'm happy to work with you on it. You can go to websites like studyabroad.com or goabroad.com, and those are study abroad search engines specifically for the many, many, many study abroad programs out there. All right, moving on. So I want to talk to you guys, speaking of scholarships, I want to talk to you about a couple specific scholarships that are designated only for Drexel students. This one we're really excited about. This is called the MDR Scholarship. This is brand spanking new. You will not even see it on our website yet. You will soon. But this is a donation. This is from a donor who has donated to Drexel specifically for a LeBow student to go to Trinity College Dublin. #1 school in Ireland. This university is one of the top tourist attractions in all of Ireland because it is so highly ranked. It's like the Harvard of Ireland. So we have a brand new partnership with them. The partnership is for everyone. Like, it's not just for business students, but business students will get priority. And the scholarship is only for business students. So you will apply through our website when you are applying to the program. The pieces that you have to meet are a 3.25 GPA. They want to see that you're involved at Drexel, specifically in LeBow. That's helpful. And the scholarship is, there's not a specific number because it's going to depend on your financial aid, but the scholarship will cover your housing, your flight, your cost of living. It just kind of depends on what other funding that you have for a general number, but the scholarship will cover all of those pieces. You have to go for what's called a full academic year. It's really 2 semesters. It's September to April. Ends in end of April, so it would require you to start your spring summer club about a month late, but you'd be getting basically a fully funded study abroad program for it. So this program, I think, is going to be incredibly popular. As of right now, we are only taking 1 winner per year, but that could change if there are a lot of great applicants. So if you are interested, I'm the advisor for this program, so you just let me know, but I think it's going to be a crazy popular program, and we're excited to start it for next year. Another scholarship is the St. Andrew's Society of Philadelphia Scholarship, the McNeal Scholarship. You may have heard of this. We've been running this for 5 years. This will be our 5th year, and this scholarship is up to $25,000. This is the biggest study abroad scholarship I've ever heard of. So this is to spend, again, a full academic year, September to May. They run a little longer than Trinity, in Aberdeen, Scotland, at University of Aberdeen. University of Aberdeen is also top ranked university, one of the highest in Scotland. It's one of Scotland's 4 ancients, which is like the Ivy League of Scotland. The other ones are University of Edinburgh, St. Andrews, and University of Glasgow. Aberdeen is our partner, and you will be going there as an exchange student. This one does require you to be a US citizen. They only allow US citizens to apply for this scholarship. 3.25 minimum GPA, Trinity doesn't require you to be a U.S. citizen, just McNeal. 3.25 minimum GPA. And this is a scholarship specifically for a Drexel student. If you Google it, you will find that there is also a Philadelphia-wide McNeal Scholarship. There is one for all of Philadelphia, and they select 3 to 4 winners. And then there is one for only Drexel. So your only competition is the other Drexel students applying for McNeal. So you have a decent shot. It is competitive, but it's not as competitive as it would be if it was Philadelphia-wide for $25,000. If you apply to either of these scholarships because of the scholarship and then you don't get it, you are not required to go to that school. You're not required to go to that program or that country. You can talk with us and we can make sure that you get a chance at your next choice program, or you could still choose to go on this program. This deadline is before our admissions deadlines so that you have an idea of whether you got it or not. So those are the 2 really exciting, huge scholarships that Drexel offers. Again, Trinity is only for LeBow students. Aberdeen is for everyone. Okay, so where do you begin? So you begin on our website, drexel.edu/study abroad. You were probably there to sign up for this session. So on our website, and I can take you through it if it's helpful, you let me know later, but on our website, you will find that there are several ways to search for study abroad programs. Under the planning section, you can search by country, you can search by term, or you can search by area of focus, which would be business for you guys. So if you click that, you'll find a whole list of business programs that will probably mirror everything I just told you here today. So that would be your first thing, is just to dig around our website. I know a lot of you I saw were class of 2023, 2024. That's great. You guys are planning ahead. I hope that you're at home thinking to yourself, like, well, I'm home bored twiddling my thumbs. When can I get out of here? Let me look into study abroad. Hopefully that's what you've been doing. And that's why you're here today. So, peep around our website. You now know what freestanding and exchange means. So you can make a decision if that's something, which kind of program you want to do. Perhaps you have an idea of what country you're interested in. If you're not, let us help you narrow it down. We do have advisors that are specific to countries. So you can work with one of us and we'll help you narrow it down. If you want to go on a program that has a language requirement, take the language placement test. So right now if you placed out of it or if you could take the language requirement. Of course, talk to your academic advisor. They should be aware that you want to study abroad. Schedule an appointment with us, one of the study abroad advisors. We all have advising links. So you just let us know. You can email studyabroad@drexel.edu and say, hi, I'm interested in a program in Spain. And then our coordinator who answers that email address will send you, Ashley, who's in this room right now, will send you Ashley's link for a Spain advising session. If you want to talk about Australia, they'll send you my link for an Australia advising session. We're, of course, doing sessions over Zoom during this time. Apply by the deadline. I have all the deadlines on the next slide or one after that. The application itself is not too hard. It is a little time consuming. You cannot do it at the very last minute, especially for a full-term program and not an ICA. It's almost impossible to do within a couple days. You need to give yourself like at least 2 weeks just because of all the parts that have to fall into place. But during COVID, I would say give yourself a little bit more. The reason for that is part of your application is what we call an academic planning form. This has to be signed by your academic advisor, your co-op advisor, Drexel Central, ISSS if you're an international student, your minor advisor if you have a minor, and that's just a lot of people to get signatures from at the very last minute. So you want to give yourself time for that. Additionally, you'll need 2 recommendations. Now the recommendations are quite easy. They're not a recommendation letter, they're just an online recommendation form. So you will just type in the name and email address of your recommender and they'll get an automated email with a link to a form to fill out. Ask them before you fill that out, because they shouldn't just get an email saying so-and-so has requested you as a recommender, and then they won't know what that's about. So ask them first, but it shouldn't take them all that long. It's just a form for them to complete. It's not a whole letter. But that's another reason why you can't wait to the last minute, because asking a recommender at the very last minute either means that you're probably not going to get a recommendation or you're going to get a very short recommendation. And you want to get a good recommendation. And if you're thinking to yourself right now, shoot, I don't have anyone who could recommend me. this is the time to start making some relationships with professors. The recommendations have to come from, one has to be a professor. The other could be a co-op employer or a second professor. It cannot come from an academic advisor. It cannot come from a supervisor of like a retail job or a restaurant. It has to be a professional job that's related to your time here at Drexel. So that's what you'll want to look in for the recommendations. There's also an essay and some supplemental questions in the self-assessment. $50 application fee or a $25 application fee for ICAs. The ICAs are a little less involved. They don't require 2 recommendations or an academic planning form. They're a little less involved, but they often require you to have an interview is what they call it, but really it's a conversation with the leading faculty member for an ICA. So that also can't be left at the last minute because the faculty member has to talk to you and they have to fit you in. So those are the steps in order to apply. Here are the deadlines. So I just listed them: fall, winter, spring, summer. These are our general deadlines. There are some program deadlines that vary from this, but for the most part, these are our deadlines. February 1st, August 1st, September 1st. Actually, fall was pushed back to February 15th. I'm sorry, that's an old deadline. February 15th for fall. Hopefully that doesn't, you're not waiting until then anyway. Our summer programs, we have a kind of different deal for summer. We have a priority deadline of October 15th, super duper early. We're trying to encourage summer students to apply a little earlier. Now, the benefit of applying as early as October is you know that you got into a study abroad program by November, and then you're like done, don't have to plan anymore. But most of our programs don't fill by then. So if you don't meet that deadline, that's okay. But you're in this session now. Summer programs are available to apply for now. So if you know you want to go next summer, you might as well apply before October 15th. It's really to benefit the students who plan early. And then summer has a final deadline of March 1st. The ICA deadlines vary by program. They're typically later than the other deadlines I just mentioned. All right, and then this is our contact information. When we're back on campus, we are in the academic building on the corner of 33rd and Arch. We're on the 2nd floor in a nice suite there. You can follow us, hopefully, on social media if you're not already. On Instagram, we feature a lot of students who have done study abroad and can tell you what it's like and have shared pretty pictures. We'll be featuring in the next couple weeks, students who have studied abroad more than once. We're calling them our all-stars because they've figured out how to study abroad more than twice and sometimes do an international co-op, so you can learn about them. When we do have students abroad, as of right now, we don't have any abroad, but when we do what we call Snapchat takeovers, where students log in and they show us what a day in the life is like, and then we upload that to our Instagram saved stories. So you can see all of that on our website. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here and give you guys a chance to ask some questions. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, no questions. Don't be shy. I'm also just going to show you our website briefly. So, okay. So if you go to our website, drexel.edu/study abroad, you'll find under planning, types of programs, all this great stuff. Exchange, freestanding, all of the pieces that we just spoke about, ICAs. And then under programs, if you go to undergraduate programs, you will find the options like I spoke about before: search by country, search by term, search by academic focus, business and entrepreneurship. So here you go. So these are a nice long list of the programs. They're going to be offered in a variety of terms: fall, winter, spring, summer. But these are all the full term programs. It says exchange right next to it if it is an exchange program. So that should paint a picture for you because you just learned about what all those programs are.